What's up, guys? Majin TV, Dakota here, back again to talk about the Tournament of Power set. Everything revealed thus far. We have everything up to the super rares released, the special rare, which is super rare but alternate art, and the secret rare. A lot of the speculation on that, but I'll get to those in a second. But first, I just want to talk about red briefly. Red set is okay. I think it has some good standalone cards. I think it's the best when it comes to the standalone cards for future set, and I was going to talk about those after the rest of the set. But overall, I think the Universe 6 deck will be decent. Caulifla makes it possible. Kale, not so much, but Caulifla, because she has that Universe 6 trait, it makes her viable with it. You can even just run Kale, Universe, 6 Saiyans, which would be fun. Then there's the idea. I actually like the idea of Caulifla in general. I think Caulifla is a solid leader. With the one drop Caulifla, it makes all one drops viable because there's a lot more 110s, so you can kind of run gimmicky stuff with that. And then also want to briefly mention the Magetta, that when you play it, all your ones are boosted. I think it's by 5 or 10,000. I forget how much, but he's really cool. I actually think he'd be real fun because all your one drops like Cobb, all of a sudden you get that extra boost, and then Caulifla can give them another 5 boosts. All of a sudden you have like one drops that go to 20k. I think that's pretty cool. Overall, not a lot. There's like 2 Universe 7 battle cards minus the secret super rare or a secret rares either. Or you have the super combo Goku. You're not gonna play him unless you're using the Gohan leader, and then you have the Vegeta, which I think is a really good card. I'll get to more about that later. 2 drop, 15k barriers of really solid effects. Overall, I think the Caulifla 3 drop is probably really good for the future. I'll mention her more later, as well as the Kaba. Vegeta leader is okay. I like the art. Overall, his effect is decent. He's more of just a Saiyan rather than Universe 7 type leader. That's what he's there for. And he gets Unending Awakening, which is kind of cool. Unending Awakening is, still a solid negate. People don't really use it much, but I think it's a solid negate. Getting that free fight boost was really good late game, as well as being able to negate an attack. So now move over to blue. Blue, I think the Universe 9 is better, not in the Bergamo leader, but in the Super Saiyan 3 leader. I want to talk about this later, but ultimately with Super Saiyan 3 leader, with some of the things you can do with Universe 9, you can actually lock them down onto energy if you go first, possibly by your 3rd turn. It is a and some people say you can get around it. You can warp some of the cards, you can destroy them. It's not as easy. Like some people have said, well, Beerus leader can do it. Well, if you're locked to 2 energy, you can't do that with Beerus. Cell leader can, but again, if you're having to skip your energy and just pop 1 card each turn, then you're not really able to do anything. Because what's to say, okay, you pop one of the trio de danger. People say danger, but I like danger. You pop one of them. What's to say they won't play it again next turn and keep you from being able to charge? Stopping you from charging while your opponent building up a board is so difficult to overcome. So I think that's going to be a very powerful archetype. I was actually wanting to build it, but at the same time, I don't like to build things that I think are too broken. I don't want to support, unstable meta. I don't want to be a support to that. That's why I didn't play Mecha for a while. I only like a Mecha cooler deck back in the day, which was like a few months ago. But overall, yeah, I think the energy lock and the fact that you can prevent, I think certain, I forget what the field card does, but it can lock down the effects also, and you can also boost energy, which is going to be usable in Beerus. People are already talking about, because instead of Whis, you can use this card, and all of a sudden you're getting 2 energy at turn 3 versus getting 1 additional energy on turn 4, or turn 3 if you're using Whis on turn 3. But ultimately, I think the non-Universe 9 Beerus would be better in general for Beerus, but I'll get to more of that later. Some of the Universe 7 cards in blue are actually pretty nice. The Goku is really solid for Universe 7 effects, the Gohan, which is, you know, search top 7. You can play a card by paying its energy cost. You have to pay its energy cost. It's the first one that searches and pays the energy cost noticeably, so that way it's not broken. The reason being, if you played with the, you know, Ultimate Gohan to play the 3-drop Gohan, and then you can search and play more Gohans or more cards, you create a huge board that is impossible to get through. So I think it's a way of keeping it honest. It's not a very good one, but it's a one that you can maybe play a 1-drop or a 2-drop if you have a lot of energy late game. The Ultimate Gohan, I think, is pretty cool. You know, evolve it, play more. You know, that way you can maybe play a 10, or no, I was about to say 10 Shinhan, but he's a 4. It's a 3 or less cards. There's some good ones. There's Krillin. There is, you know, the Vegeta. And then there's just some decent ones that search. You can play your Goku Super combo, so that way you can, you know, combo with him with the Gohan leader to combo. I think I was originally thinking Gohan leader was going to be the top Universe 7 leader, until I saw Frieza leader. I'll get to more of him in a second, because those were just revealed earlier today, this morning really. But ultimately, I think some good effects. And so with that, I also think the Piccolo is really good. Get to more on him later too. The Whis, the Whis kind of makes it seem like the super rare has for blue. One of them has to be Beerus. If this is going to be a side set, then you would expect them to put Beerus in there. I'll get to more on the SRs in a second. Even I keep saying everything I'm going to get to. So, you know, those are good. So, you know, that's about it for blue. I like the Onubi card. I might have said that wrong. But he's, I think, a very solid another combo card. If you're running in mono blue, then you don't have to use the Goku combo, the red one. So that way you can use it, and it's also good in Super Saiyan 3. If you only mainly run blue, then that way you don't have to have that, you know, in the back to accidentally come out, you know, for your energy early game. Or you can use an addition, and it's really good in Cell Union and just any Union deck. Green, the leaders were okay. I think Ribrianne is kind of interesting. The Ribrianne deck seems interesting. I just don't have any interest in building it, sadly. The cards have good battle effects. Some of the better ones, actually, that work well with each other. Being able to play cards for cheaper and being able to, you know, get effects for cheaper, I think it was. I forget all of them what they do. I wasn't the most interested in it, but I was impressed by it, if that makes sense. The Goku SR, that we kind of actually have seen some spoilers on. I think it's I forget the exact effect. I think it was a dual attack triple strike crit or something like that. It was a good effect. Very solid card. You know, green EX Evolve, I believe it is. Universe 7, all that jazz. Another Ultra Instinct card, basically. Good effects, that's all I'll say. Ribrianne, good effects. Lower cost, I think her SR was. I don't have them off the top of my head, but not much to say about them. Then we go to yellow. Jiren, weak leader. He's kind of like Galactic Freeze, only kind of weaker. Depending on what the SR Jiren does, it kind of makes him seem like why run Universe 11 or not. That's what it'll all depend on. The Frieza leader is one that is now like, okay, do you run Gohan or do you run him? You can ditch a card, draw 2 with Frieza, boom. It's kind of like Cell leader. Only you can also do that on your own Awaken and kind of get hand faster and dig deeper to play your cards early. Or you can do Gohan, you know, you can play a card, you can combo with it in rest mode when you're Awakened, and you can just combo with it in general to draw 2 cards. I think that's a solid effect because then you can actually plus really easily. Like, for example, turn 1 you can play, if you go second, you play the 1-drop Goku, get a Universe 7 from top 3, add to your hand, then, like, you know, shuffle, combo with it, and then you're drawing 2, so you actually plus 2, basically. Whereas Frieza, you know, you ditch that one, you draw 2 immediately, so you can kind of ditch dead cards that you're not going to play anyway, and you can draw them really fast, and just get more to play if you don't have anything to play early. That's all up to personal choice. The Frieza actually has kind of like some hijinks you can do. You can use Shugesh to kind of get your Universe 7 Saiyans out earlier. So like the Gohan I mentioned, you can actually use Shugesh, play him when you're at 4, and then search and then play Universe 7 card by paying its cost, so that way you can kind of get like Gohan out for free and then play another card. I think that'd be really interesting. And then just some other ones like Goku and Vegeta's I think would be interesting. Universe 11, their effects kind of didn't wow me at all. They kind of seemed weak. That's why I'm like, the whole effect of them isn't all that good. You know, they're more about seeing like tapping and kind of like locking down kind of things, and it doesn't really impress me too much with them. There's other cards and leaders that do that better. The Frieza and Goku rares, I think, were solid, solid. Goku gives yellow, just in general, that card to awaken immediately. Something yellow needed. There's only been a few cards that kind of like take life in yellow. And then the Frieza is really, really good against barrier, even though you need to ditch a Universe 7 card, which makes it kind of more difficult to use later. And again, another card I'll mention later. Its effect is solid. It is solid. Being able to tap barrier cards so you can kind of go after them easier is a good effect. And or just like, if you're going against apes, boom, play it, tap those cards. All of a sudden, now they have 2 apes less that can't do anything to defend against you. Super good effects. That's mainly it for the yellow. So overall, I just want to talk about this set itself first, or next, and overall, it's a set I'm not going to buy too many boxes on. I think buying certain singles are better. If you're not planning on playing a certain deck, there's no real point to buy a box. Even if you find out it's good later, it won't last too long, unfortunately. We're only going to be getting a sequel set to Tournament of Power, and some of the cards in them are going to be supporting some of the ones that we have now, just because of the cards that we will be getting then are going to be, for some of the ones that we didn't get so much of now. Like Universe 7 will get more stuff, but like you're not going to be seeing so much for Universe 9 in a sequel Tournament of Power set, because if that's the second half, Universe 9 was the first one eliminated versus like Minute, they're not going to be there. So just keep that in mind. Same with like Universe 6, we're not going to get a whole lot of them, other than like Keflas and stuff. So I think it's a fun set though that you can use. I think it'd be good in a draft format, just to like have a fun draft set every now and then. Magic the Gathering does a lot of draft, sets, as well as like just draft nights. So I think this is something that allows that for Dragon Ball Super. And some of the cards, even if they seem like they'll be cheap later, like I don't expect the Goku Ultra Instinct to be valuable, but if you have them and then you find out like they drop to like $1.50, keep them. You never know how far this game will go, and depending on how it stands the test of time, if it reaches that potential that it has or surpasses it, its Master's Ultra Instinct surpasses its power. Why did I sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger? If it goes beyond its potential, then who knows? Some of the staple cards or some of the face of the franchise cards like Goku will maybe jump back up in price. So at the very least, there's some good collector edition cards I think in there. The secret rare will be interesting. I want to see what it is. I think it could possibly be, I doubt it'll be Ultra Instinct Goku. It could be Kefla. It's one of those first half of Tournament Power ones, so you don't know. Who knows? It could be Zeno or Grand Priest for all we know. I think those would be interesting cards. Kind of be the, they're there. We expect something from them. So who knows? That could be what that is. But yeah, I wouldn't spend too much money on this set, but at the same time, I think there's some cards that are worth getting. And segue into the cards I think are viable, even beyond this set. So first off, I'll start with Gale Strike Vegeta. Like I said, mentioned earlier, it's a 2-drop red, barrier 15k. It's good in Vegito. It's really solid in, for decks that'll have more Vegeta evolve in the X evolve targets. And barrier, solid effect. It's probably the best effect beyond crit in this game. So I think he does really well. Then we have the Surprise Attack Majin Buu and the Majin Buu Full of Energy. Adding more Buu cards makes the Buu decks viable. You have the 3-drop Buu that is, search for a 25k Buu. I think the 1-drop red Hercule, which searches for a Majin Buu out of the top 7 of your deck, a red Majin Buu, I think it works really well with this. If you don't have it starting your hand, you can play the Hercule, fetch this, which fetches into one of the 5s, whether it be the Full of Energy or the, Super Buu, to evolve, so that we can go union into more. I think those are really some solid effects that just make Buu really, really good in the future. Really good standalone cards. Some people didn't notice how many standalone cards we got in this set. A lot of them were in red, like I mentioned. But obviously they didn't want to break the game by making too many in this side set, because they wanted this to be its own theme. But beyond those, we have Impeccable Super Saiyan Kappa, solid card. 3-drop, 15k. You can't counter it. You can't even play a counter against it. So it's not like, okay, it's not like Whis where you can play Mafuba. No, you can't do any of that. And then also, it can attack battle cards that are not rested. Solid effects. Gains 5k if you have a red leader. It's not a Universe 6 leader, it's a red Saiyan leader. So all of a sudden, it's a 20k 3-drop that you can't counter. So it's a really good, to combo out late game. Solid effects. And really good with chain attack also. Then another card that's good with red Saiyan leaders and chain attack also is the 3-drop Saiyan Caulifla, or super sister attack Saiyan Caulifla. You play it if you have a red Saiyan leader. So I think this works really well with Pan, mind you. You take a life if you have a red Saiyan leader, and that's why it works with Pan. So you take a life, and she gains double strike for the turn. I believe 5,000 power. Yes. So if you play her in Pan, all of a sudden you're having a 25k card that you just plus because you're drawing a card with Pan. Then you're also taking a life with Caulifla, and it has double strike. So it's a solid turn 3 card. Definitely solid card. And then with Pan, again, if you're able to awaken, then you're able to untap those and play more cards. Then we got the Frost cards. Frost was kind of like underrated early on. Never really used much. Not fantastic, but not terrible. Then we got these new ones, which we were all expecting some good ones, and wow, we got a a card that you can technically get it out turn 2, the Triple Strike Frost with the 1-drop Frost that lets you search the top 7. If you get it out, all of a sudden you have a turn 2 Triple Striker, really good effect. I forget its whole effect, but it's just the main thing of being able to get it out turn 2 is really solid for a Triple Strike. Just giving more to Frost, I think it's just kind of cool. Then you have the Frost that searches for him. If you don't have the 1-drop, you can kind of play him later. I mentioned earlier the Universe 6 Magetta combo card. You play it. It pluses. It pluses by 10,000 to all 1-drops. So all of a sudden your 1-drop Kaba goes to 25,000. To 15, and then attack is at 25 with its effect. Your 1-drop Cauliflas, your 1-drop whatevers, all of a sudden go to 20,000, and then if you use Caulifla Leader, they get an extra 5. So all of a sudden you have these like 25k battle cards that are super powerful. I think it's a really fun effect. I think it could be a really underrated card in the future, and I think it could be used really more with more 1-drops in the future. We have a lot of 1-drop 10s. I think it'll be really solid with those. Then we have the extra card Strategies of Universe 7. Originally I was thinking it'd be a good sideboard card, then I reread it and it says until the end of your opponent's turn, not until the end of your turn, which makes it unbelievably good. So you can give it to all your red Saiyans, 0-drop by the way, barrier, and all your red Saiyans, and really good in Vegito, really good in like Pan, GT, really good in the Caulifla, Universe 6, or if you want to do a Caulifla GT, really solid effects because all of a sudden they can't explosive, they can't do certain things to pop, or just anything that targets it. So really solid extra card, and the fact that it's a 0 makes it even better. Then we have for blue Whis, Mentor of Beerus, another card that's kind of alluding to a Beerus battle card. Be right back. Sorry, I'm back. I was cooking a pizza, timer went off, and I have to cook it a little longer. So anyway, Whis, Mentor of Beerus, alludes to a Beerus SR in the set, possibly secret rare. I doubt it'll be secret rare, but makes Beerus 1-drop cheaper, so you can have a Beerus at 6. You can only have one Whis on the field but I think it's not that bad a card still. Your Beerus, it's a 4-drop, all of a sudden becomes a 3-drop. You still need 5 energy, but that's not that hard in the Beerus deck. And just getting cheaper out there is really solid. Then it's also God Barrier, which is really cool. It makes sense. Then we have another card that I think is underrated. I love it. Focus Mind Piccolo. I think it is another card that's solid in a Beerus God deck just because it's still a God card. He's a blocker, he's Barrier. And if you have 4 or more energy on your opponent's turn, he gains 5k. So better than the Whis 4-drop. That is basically indestructible in a way. And 20k, because this one's a 3-drop, it has Barrier, so it's a little harder to get rid of because you can't target it, you can't rest it with effect outside of the Frieza. So I think it's a really good card that'll be used more in the future. People don't really think about it. Then there's the Onubi, or Obuni. Don't I look like a jackass? So, it's a card that's basically like the Goku, only you have to send a card from your hand back to the deck, which isn't that bad. It's still a really good combo effect, and it's really good in Union decks, because if you have like your Union, if you have your cells in hand, or your boos that you need a union with, that are union into, or your Android 13s or your Rildos, it lets you put them back in your deck and fish them out later with union. It gives you a guarantee that you know it's in there. So it's a really cool effect. Then you have Green Energy Android 17. People think it's kind of trash. Maybe in a tournament power set per se, but in Androids it's actually not that bad. If you think about it, if you can get a 2-drop 15k, then 20 when you're awakened and it restands and it's a blocker, it actually gives you more defense. So even though it's not as aggro, it gives you more defense, because if you think about it, green, it's tapping out a lot. I'm about to cut this short for soon. Camera's dying. But I think it's good. And then I just want to mention the Hermilla and Prune combo. I think it's really cool. Not very viable, but cool. Then you got Kawe, a green combo card that is not really used. Green doesn't really have anything outside of TN, but now Kawe gives it to you. Then we got the Spirit Bomb Goku in yellow. Like I said, mentioned earlier, good awakening card for yellow, and very good card. Gives you yellow to Vegito. Then you got Roshi, 1-drop negate, for yellow, and you play it. Another just good negate for yellow. Then you got the Frieza. It's a card that I think can be used in the future, even though you need Universe 7 to ditch. I think it still is valuable, because if you have like Roshis and a few other cards, it's still not that difficult to get out, even in a non-Universe 7 deck. So that's about it for my thoughts on the Universe 7 things. But leave your thoughts down below on some cards you like. Sorry for cutting this short. Kind of have to. I want to be able to get to edit this and post it soon. But I like the set. I'm not gonna go buy into it too much, but I do like it, and I think a lot of people should. Don't buy more than a couple boxes. Don't go a case. It's not worth the case, especially with set 4 coming out. Go more into set 4. I think will have a much better long-term effect. But this one, definitely buy singles. That's what I would suggest with this one. Buy the singles. Don't necessarily buy boxes. Too heavy. That's about it. Overall, solid thoughts. Not super fantastic. Red gets a lot. Blue gets not much for future. Green gets a little bit. Although I think Red Brienne could be a solid deck. And then yellow, didn't get a whole lot for the future. But that Goku and the Frieza are still definitely solid. By the way, I love the Krillin in green. It's unfortunate that its effect only works with the Universe 7 leader, but I think it's pretty cool. I'll talk more. Once the set drops, I think I'll make a viability ranking for leaders. I was actually trying to record that the other day, but it turns out it lasted an hour, so kind of have to redo that later. But ultimately, your thoughts on where the tournament power cards stand right now? What do you think they'll be? Which one do you think is the best leader? I think Jiren kind of sucks, but that's my pizza. Gotta go, guys. Have a great day. If you want to, like, share, subscribe, all that junk people talk about. Peace.